If you want to make art on your own terms, you want to make art for Instagram, you want to make YouTube videos, this is the study plan for you.
Waste of money. Quick, get out of here.
Now, there's a lot of study plans here on YouTube. Specifically for like Marc Brunets' study plan, it may be very well a good study plan, but it's kind of meant for if you want to do art in the industry. Like if you want to be professionally hired by, I don't know, like in a video game company and you make art by other people's rules.
Nice opinion. One small issue. I'm inside your home.
But if you want to make art by your rules, if you want to, just make art on your own, make art on Instagram, post your own stuff. So, month 1. The first study you're going to do is form and value studies. Form and value are the most fundamental fundamentals. Everything else builds on top of these two. So you're going to get a photo reference. Ideally, photograph something on your own, because when you photograph, you train your observational skills. But I'm going to make a full video about that. So it can be a photo of anything. I took a picture of my hand here, and it might feel intimidating, but you're only concerned with the form and the value. So what you're trying to do is, so with the hand here, with the arm, I'm simplifying it into the most basic 3-dimensional form. So it's just like a long box, basically. And then describe that form with just a few values. Like you don't need to necessarily limit yourself to only using 2 values, anything like that. But you're not concerned about all the highlights and all the small changes in values. Just think about the basic form and try to describe that using as few values as you can. The second study is just a plain old drawing of a face. Just get a reference and just try to draw it. You can use whatever method that works well for you. If you want to use the Loomis method, use the Loomis method. I preferred using something like the Loomis method earlier on. Now I just kind of freehand it. You can try that, see if it works for you. Try a bunch of different methods, see what works for you. So for month 2, we're going to focus in on portraits. We're going to do skull studies, a sorrow head studies, and just paint out our face studies. So here I'm painting out the sketch I was sketching earlier. Now we're doing all of this in grayscale. We're not tackling color yet. So we're doing everything in grayscale. Now we're trying to learn the structure here. And to learn structure faster, forget about appeal. Forget about trying to make it look cute, beautiful, pretty. Just focus on learning structure. If you want to learn more about portraits, I have an entire course on it that you can get just by signing up on my Patreon. For the 3rd month, we're going to start with a full body drawing. This is not a gesture drawing. You're not concerned with the movement. You're not concerned with the rhythm. You don't have to do it fast. You're concerned with the structure. You're concerned with the 3-dimensionality form and just the proportions of the human body. So it's fine if it's stiff. It's fine if it's stiff. You're just trying to learn the proportions and the structure of the body. And we're also trying to learn the anatomy. So we're also going to do anatomy paintings. So here I'm doing a painting of a forearm. Forearms are pretty difficult. You probably shouldn't start with those, but they're one of the muscle groups that I still don't fully understand. For month 4, 5, and 6, just continue to do these previous studies, any combination of them that you want to do. Now, before we go on to the next 6 months, I want to warn you about study plans. When you're trying to study art, when you're drawing things for the sake of improving, burnout is inevitable. It's great that you want to improve. We all want to improve. But what would actually be ideal is that improvement comes as a byproduct of you making the art that you want, instead of you making art for the sake of improving. That distinction is very important, especially as a beginner. I did not get to where I am by following a study plan. For the first year and a half of doing art, I did not draw things for the sake of improving. I just drew what I wanted to draw. If I could go back to day one and get myself on the perfect study plan, sure, I could have made more progress faster. But something very important would have been lost. I had the most fun with art in that first 1.5 years. Now that I'm like focused on my improvement, I'm chasing goals, I'm trying to make it, I'm trying to become successful, art has become like a tool. Art has become a means to an end. And like for now, it kind of has to be that way. I need to make it or I will starve to death. But I would not change anything about how I first started making art. Now, it's important to mention, there's a reason why I still made so much progress while I was just drawing for fun. For one, I was drawing a lot. I was drawing so much. I mean, there were months where I was drawing 10 hours a day, every day. And like on average, for the first year, I probably drew like 7 hours a day. But, secondly, I was drawing stories. Very long stories. When you draw stories, you are forced to draw basically everything under the sun. I had to draw all kinds of characters in all kinds of poses and angles, all types of lighting scenarios. I had to draw fight scenes. I had to draw like animals. Sometimes I had to draw like horses. I had to draw monsters. I always had to draw like some kind of background. I basically forced myself to draw everything. I forced myself to deal with all of the art fundamentals at once. And this was my introduction to art. And it's for that reason, I basically don't have a comfort zone. I have preferences, but I always made myself draw everything, so I'm never really uncomfortable. And I was forced to do it fast. There were so many pages to draw, like I was making stories. To complete it, I would need like hundreds, thousands of pages. I couldn't spend that long on each one. I had to do it fast, and because of that, I am now very fast at drawing and painting. Like,
I don't think you have any idea how fast I really am. I'm fast as fuck, boy.
If you have a story that you want to tell, even if it's just a super rough idea,
Do it!
do it.
Just
Don't fall
do
for the
it!
trap of, oh, I'll do it once I'm good enough. You'll get good enough by doing it. Now, you can still follow a study plan in the meantime, but if you do have a story that you want to work on, you could like, okay, so you work on that story 80% of the time, and then you can do studies 20% of the time. But you can also remember that you can combine the two. Like, if you have to study anatomy, for example, just come up with an excuse for your characters to be shirtless. But back to the last 6 months. So, for month 7, now we're going to get into gesture drawings. But it was important that we tried to learn the structure and the proportions and the anatomy earlier. But now we can concern ourselves with just like the movement and the rhythm. But take note, I fucking suck at these. I've never done this. This is literally like, I'm starting to learn gesture drawings now. And I'm going to focus on them for a while. You know, a lot of these are things that I haven't studied. Like gesture drawings, I haven't really studied these before. I'm studying this now. And we're also going to do some environment studies in color, just to play around with color. So I'm doing a study here of just some clouds. You can, just any environment that you want. For the 8th month, we're going to do isolation studies. So basically, you're going to isolate something that you want to learn and just study that. So like specifically, noses, for example. Isolate the nose and just do studies of noses. Or isolate the eyes, just do studies of eyes. Isolate the mouth, etc., etc. Or you can isolate a specific material, like water, for example. So you can just focus on trying to make something look like water, or wood, or metal. For the last 4 months, we're going to do 2 things. For one, you're going to sketch things from imagination. So just sketch what you want to sketch. Like, I really like sketching skulls and monsters and stuff like that. Just sketching that you want to sketch from imagination. Secondly, we're going to do studies of other people's art. So find an artist that you really like and find what it is you like about their art and just do studies trying to learn that thing. So I really like Sanders' art, so I'm doing a study of him here, trying to focus and learn how he uses colors, how he uses his brushes, how he simplifies rendering, how he simplifies in general, and his proportions, how he makes his characters cute. Obviously, don't steal just from one artist. Obviously, don't steal just from Sanders' art. Don't be a copycat. Don't be an idiot. Steal from a lot of people and no one will notice. So, that's 1 year. Now keep in mind, you can basically keep doing the studies for previous months, even when you move on to the next month if you want to. I mean, like a drawing of a face, that's something we're literally going to do forever. And again, if you are a beginner, don't get caught up in trying to improve so much that you forget to have fun. If you're a beginner, you might not know this, but art doesn't get more fun by getting better at it. The reverse can actually happen, but in general, you're not going to have more fun just because you're better. Make the art that you really want to make. Don't wait.